Have you ever noticed how people think they're in control of their own minds? They think every thought, every choice, every little decision is of their own making. Well, it's not. Hello everyone, my name is Chase and welcome back to another video on chasing the illusion. And in today's video, I'm going to be telling you this one psychological concept that I believe every single mentalist should master and practice and take out into the real world to properly bend minds, influence decisions, and literally read minds. But I'm not cruel. I'm not going to give you just one psychological concept. I'm going to give you three psychological concepts, all of them powerful, and that third one being the main one that you should take out into the real world. So let's begin with the first one. First up, anchoring. It's one of these concepts that I have spoken about before on this channel because it is quite simple and it is still really effective. In essence, you create a mental link for a trigger to a thought, feeling, or a response. And that trigger could be a word, a sound, a noise, a gesture, anything that can be repeatable. Psychologists would call this conditioning, but mentalists kind of call it anchoring. They're all the same thing, they're all the same concept. And this concept can help steer a spectator's decision. So, for instance, imagine if I wanted my participant or spectator to think of something heavy. Yeah, I could just ask them to, hey, think of something heavy in your mind. Don't say it out loud, just think of something heavy. But I could just pepper in some slight words that will make them think of something heavier a little later. So I could talk about things that are grounded or literal like weights or things that are heavy. I could even drop my voice a little lower. That sometimes works. And then when I ask them to think of an object, they will probably think of something heavier. That way I'm getting a sort of hit without telling them to think of something heavy. You know, what's better if I'm seeding these things in a general conversation and then asking them to think of something, anything, and then they think of something heavy, or I just straight up ask them to think of something heavy. You know, for me personally, and you might be different, seeding that in straight away before you even ask them to think of something makes it a little bit more deceptive. And by the time they've now thought of an object or even named an object, you know, they can name it out loud, they're more likely to now name a rock than a feather. It feels spontaneous to them in the moment, but I've been nudging them the whole time to think of something heavy. And, you know, anchoring can be used in loads of different scenarios and different thoughts. So it can work the other way around, so if you want to make someone think of something light. But very well, this concept works very well with numbers. You've probably seen the movie like Focus with Will Smith and Margot Robbie, when they're trying to influence someone to think of a certain number throughout the whole day. This number, I can't remember what the number is, but it's like peppered throughout his whole life, right, that day. So then when they ask them to think of that certain number, that number is obviously the number he picks. Obviously it's a film, and the likelihood of that happening is not very much, but there is a little bit of truth to it. And I've played around with this sort of concept before, and it does work. Like, believe it or not, it works really, really well. Now, let's turn to something you don't create, but exploit. Confirmation bias. Our brains are lazy, and when they're given new information, we always align it with whatever we already preemptively believe in. And as a mentalist, you can really hone in on this concept. Think of it as a cold reading method, right? So if I said, you're often quite comfortable in groups of people, but then sometimes you like to take a step back and let other people have the light shine on them. You know, that applies to everyone, but you can also apply confirmation bias to that as well. The spectator's brain will latch onto that part that will connect to them. So, as soon as I say that, you've probably thought of a time where you were centre of attention and you really liked it and you felt a bit confident. But then you will automatically think of times when somebody else was centre of attention, you was really enjoying it, and you was kind of enjoying being part of the background. You instantly think of a moment that happens and you go, yeah, actually, that does apply to me. Confirm it. Confirmation bias. And here's where you can apply it to magic and mentalism. If you apply a confirmation bias, then half the work's already done for you. Give people open-ended statements. Let them have a casual decision of the multiple choices. So if I wanted someone to pick a black card, maybe because I'm wearing black today, I can then tell them something like, maybe I'm influencing you to pick the black card because I'm wearing black today. And, that will kind of resonate in their mind and they'll go, oh yeah, I kind of get it. But is that really working? But I kind of do get it. Maybe I will pick the black card. They're more likely to pick the black card. Now, before we get into the last and most dangerous psychological concept for this video, the reason why you probably watched this video in the first place, let's have a quick pause. It is my video. At the end of the day, I can do whatever I like. If you are enjoying this video and you're finding something of worth and you want to see more magic and more mind reading and learn how to do it as well, then just simply subscribe to the channel. It literally costs nothing and it helps me make more videos like this, and you might even learn something along the way and possibly be a little bit entertained. But that's your perspective, not mine. Anyway, the moment you've all been waiting for, that last psychological concept. Here we go. Now, finally, the crown jewel of these concepts, the illusion of free will, or the decoy effect. This is the reason why people walk around a shop and think, yeah, I made the best choice of whatever I picked then, when reality is their choice was picked well before they even walked down the aisle. So here's how it works. If I want you to pick option A, for example, but I also show you option B, it seems like a 50-50 chance. But if I introduce option C, which is a weaker, lopsided version of option B, it makes option A look a lot more fancy, and you're more likely to go for option A over B because of it. So put this into perspective. If you've got envelopes, for example, you can have a blue envelope, you can have a red envelope, or you can have an orange envelope. Red and orange are very, very similar, so they're more likely to go for the blue envelope. With cards, you could have a ace of spades, right? That's usually one that everyone picks anyway. But you have the ace of spades, then you can have a 10 of diamonds and a 8 of diamonds. Same soup, quite similar. It's a little bit less than the 10, but the ace is the one that most people pick anyway, and it's different colour, and in poker games the ace is always better than the 10 anyway, right? I don't know, I don't play poker, I just cheat it. But here's the real dangerous secret. If you combine all three of these concepts, then the whole illusion of free will just doesn't make sense to the person that you are performing to. And it can be quite scary when you do this. And I've done it in shows before. I'd like to say I don't do it in real life, but when it's as simple as this, you can't not. It's scary. It's really scary. So let's put this in perspective. Those envelopes, the blue, the red, and the orange. Obviously, I want people to pick the blue envelope. And the decoy effect is already in place already, as we've discussed. But now if I want to start adding the anchoring concept into it all, maybe I'm wearing a blue top. Or it might not be matching the same blue of the envelope, but it's very clearly blue, and anchoring in their minds the concept of blue. Maybe beforehand we was talking about the sea or the sky or something like that, something else that is blue, again anchoring. And then we've got confirmation bias, where we can really emphasize and give them the complete choice, multiple choices of what it is, and that can really play into it. Combining all three of these concepts, it makes it incredibly hard not for that person to pick the blue envelope. That is just psychology. It's real magic. Like, it's real mentalism and real magic. It's not sleight of hand or a peek. That is just pure psychological manipulation. And use that as you will. You can probably see how these concepts can, leak into the real world, which can be a little bit scary. And, we're kind of tapping into the whole dark psychology thing. So, I use this for your shows. Use this for performances, and try it out just a little bit with real life situations. Again, it's not 100% accurate, but it's so good. So let's recap. Anchoring, planting invisible triggers that steer thoughts. Confirmation bias, letting the brain fool itself into your favour, and the decoy effect, the art of controlling choice while preserving the illusion of freedom. Learn these, master these, and soon you'll be controlling and reading everybody's minds around you. If you like this video, again, why don't you hit subscribe and do all the things you're supposed to do on YouTube. It really helps me out, and we are now in October, which means spooky season is upon us, and that's my favourite time of year, and I've got a lot of spooky, Halloweeny, is that even the right words, videos going to be coming your way in the next coming weeks. So if that seems like it's up your street, you know what to do. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.